Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to League of Europe. We are here tonight for F1 22 action. It is Season 9. It's Division 1 of the Championship as we take in Round 5 of the Championship, as we take in, of course, the Monaco Grand Prix from the Circuit de Monte Carlo. My name is James Head. I'm going to be taking to the stream, of course, as always, on this fine Saturday evening. And it's only going to be me by myself as well, because late changes literally brought about in the last 20 minutes or so means Old School is going to be doing Division 3, Swip is going to be alongside him in the commentary box, therefore you've got me for an hour and a half. No matter what, it's going to be fun, and hopefully the Monaco Grand Prix is going to go, hopefully, swimmingly well, and hopefully we get to see some really good action, which will definitely make up for, of course, the reason why Jess and, of course, Liam are not doing Division 3 commentary. I'm not going to repeat it, of course, on the stream, but look on social media if you do want to be entertained by that, and obviously... The thing is, I will say this on stream now, curiosity kills the beast, and I think Liam was more curious than anything. Of course, the cheating has been obviously found out at Silverstone last night, of course, in One Hub. Of course, his actions are beyond reproachable, but he has made a genuine mistake. He has been as curious as anybody with the hacks and everything, and I'm sure he will learn his lesson, and I'm sure Jess, I hope she is okay as well, and I really hope both of them do come back together as strong as a unit as possible, because I don't think League of Europe Division 3 would be without them. I certainly don't think League of Europe would be at them, and I certainly don't think as well the League Racing community would be without them either, with so much effort and determination that they both put in. Hopefully the wrongs can be righted, and the right can come out on top towards the end. But it just highlights, of course, the absolute need for an anti-cheat within the game. And that is my opinion on things. Of course, you could agree, you could disagree, whether you're not, but I want to get that off my chest because I feel really sorry for Jess, I feel really sorry for Liam. Hopefully they're both doing okay, or as well as can be, of course, given the circumstances. But obviously, we are here tonight for Monaco, so we're going to take you through the championship standings, of course. But yeah, it is going to be very interesting to see what actually happens in Division 1 tonight. And I am just trying to get access to the championship standings. Give me a second. I'm normally prepared. Didn't want to go into the stream by starting off with that, but anyways, we will justify this. Montana, by the way, good evening to you. Hopefully you're doing well. It is only me by myself, so you can keep me company at least for the next hour and a half. I'm not going to be alone, which is the best thing. Let me get up the championship standings. Give me a second. Where are we? Championship standings. Goodness me, it's taken me even longer to try and access the championship standings, but there we are. I've got them. Sally leading the way along with Alp, both tied on 60 points, and of course Alp finishing third means Sally, of course, is out on top in the championship by default by those 2 wins, of course, to their name, and Sally could be the one to watch out for, certainly in this Monaco qualifying session. Alp also tied on the lead, of course, in 60 points. Campbell third on 51 after a strong race, of course, last week. Or a very weak race, I should say. Last week, strong performances before that. However, Jensen there in fourth, looking to try and get on the retribution trail. He absolutely died a death in WR last night on the console tier 1. His form needs to really pick up quickly. He is fourth in the championship, so he really needs to pick up the points here tonight. White there in fifth on 36. Izzat in sixth on 34. Then Yildirim in 7th on 27, Rocco in 8th on 25, Nathan and Rick also in 9th on 23 points. Pease there in 11th on 22, with Gary in 12th on 21, Jeroen in 13th on 18, then J. Cole 14th on 14, Verstappen 15th on 13, Slash, Killer, Dari, Packer and Matthias are the top 20, filling out the standings, of course, coming into tonight. Montana also saying in the comment section that Slippery Cucumber is a rapid guy. Could be a shout tonight and for future races. I really hope so. Hopefully he's not as slippery as this track potentially here in Monaco, but hopefully he's not going to be slippery as a cucumber. He's going to be slipping and sliding maybe into the record books tonight as a Monaco Grand Prix winner. Who knows what will happen, of course, out on track here in Monaco. And in terms of the constructor standings as well, which is something that we haven't actually run through in recent weeks, Mercedes lead the way on 104 points, with Ferrari in second on 74, Williams in third on 70, AlphaTauri fourth on 61, Haas in fifth on 49, Alfa Romeo sixth on 37, McLaren seventh on 32, Red Bull on 8th on 27, Alpine in 9th on 15, and then Aston Martin in 10th on 6 points. As we get to, of course, the Circuit de Monaco, or in the Principality, of course, of Monaco. First championship held Grand Prix around here, 21st of May 1950, which is about a week before, after the Eurovision Song Contest Grand Final, of course. Back in 1950, even though the Eurovision Song Contest wasn't around then, it is, of course, this year, anyways. That's about a week after the Grand Final in Liverpool, which should be quite interesting. Of course, it's 3.3 kilometres in length, 2.075 miles. Used to be 3.1 kilometres in length and 1.9 miles, but of course they made changes to the track. Of course, the olden days used to go down the hill through literally the curbs were the walls back in the day. Luckily, we have fitted curbs within this track and within the track limits, and hopefully we'll get to see some really good action, of course, out on track into tonight racing. As of course you can tell, it is midnight here in Monaco, which means we're under the night lights for the Monaco Grand Prix. 39 laps awaiting our drivers, of course, but first an 18 minutes qualifying session, which I hope is going to be really, really well received, and hopefully we're going to see a close qualifying session as well. The first drivers are now making their way out on track. Jensen is one of the first out on track. It's however Rick who was the first man out on track. Now, obviously, we have seen very good moves back in the day. I'm just going to turn my sound down. Apologies about that if you can hear it coming through on my end. Not ideal because I haven't got the proper headset on. But Rick down in currently 18th position. Obviously, he has had some decent-ish results this season in LOE Division 1, so he'd be hoping to try and improve as, of course, the night goes on, and he'll be hoping that, of course, Rick can justify that, and obviously with Jensen behind him out on track at this moment in time, he has got a little bit of a target on his back potentially, but we will see potentially running down the track. I'm just going to turn my sound down again, because it is very, very loud in my ear. Hopefully that is better, and hopefully you can hear me, which is the most important thing. But Rick leading the way out on track at this stage. He's going to be the first man to set up on a lap. It's a very tight track, of course, in toward the La Rasca section at turn number 18. And then in toward the right-hand of Antinage at turn number 19, and that sets us up now onto this lap. We'll turn the timing tower from the left-hand side just so we can get a run with Rick on the run down in towards turn number 1 at Saint-Devote. And no heroic speed from anybody into Saint-Devote tonight, otherwise you will be like Julian Palmer in 2015. As Rick now comes up the hill in towards the left-hander of Massenet, and then of course through Casino, or Casino Square as I like to call it, now down the hill in towards Mirabeau Bass, 18.7 through the first sector from him, coming through Mirabeau, now at the top of the hill, coming through the Grand Hotel hairpin, and now cascading their way through the hairpin on the run down in towards Mirabeau Bass, which is the second half of the Mirabeau complex. And then in towards Portier, where Pascal Verlaine and Jensen Button famously made contact in 2016. Verlaine hanging like a cow in the barriers as now we come through on board with Rick, coming through the tunnel, now down in towards the very good section of the Novelle chicane. And then, of course, in towards the back corner at turn number 12, pretty much halfway through the lap, as Selly has already crashed out the session at the top of Casino Square. Wow! Selly 52-2 in the middle sector from Rick in this lap, but Selly's already at the session. Championship leader, or one of the championship leaders, already at the session. He is going to be starting potentially from the back of the field as Rick now comes to the line, and it's a 1:10.5, but my oh my, Selly, and Jensen just bangs in a 1:09.2 because he's just Jensen at the end of the day. Nathan there in second, 1:09.8, but big news there, Selly out of the session early on. Montana is going to be absolutely livid, I am sure, and that is such a bumpy part of the track. We're coming above with Jensen through this part of the track. If he's got caught on the wall on the inside, the car then hops over a bump and then goes into the left-hand side wall, and there is nothing you can actually do about that, but his teammate has got him out of a free jail card at this stage. Jensen out on top, 6/10 clear dead on, ahead of Gary in second, Nathan there in third, and Alf on the Sun mediums, the other championship leader coming into tonight. He's there in fourth with a 1:09.9. But yeah, very interesting start to qualifying. Yeah, some strategy gambles will be done, he says. Definitely so. If he's starting at the back of the field, honestly, I normally say whoever gets first normally wins the race, and normally that is pretty much proven for about 90% of the time in league races around here. However, though, with the nature of the track, with the nature of the beast, with the jewel and the crown and everything like that, Selly has to try and make up that ground, and he's going to be certainly one to watch out for. And speaking of ones to watch out for, Slippery Cucumber's coming through the middle sector on his debut. He's actually coming back in the pit lane, which is absolutely typical. As right on board them into the pit lane he comes in the AlphaTauri. Dari's in the first sector, 18.6, actually not looking too bad. And this is the track where Dari could actually quite excel at around here, because he has got good pace around here. I've raced him around here in the past as well, and Dari has got good pace around here, so he might be one to watch out for. Certainly in the reaches of the top 10, we'll have to wait and see. There's a yellow flag coming to the Rascas section. I think that might have been potentially Verstappen coming into the pit lane, or certainly just preparing up for lap, I think, Verstappen there in 11th. But Dari coming to the middle sector, split 52.8 in the middle sector, exactly where Rick was. He's going to go around the 110.4, 110.5 mark, I think, with this lap, as now Dari comes in toward the right-hander of the final couple of corners, through the right-hander of Rascas, into Anthony Norge at turn 19. Already nearly 6 minutes gone in qualifying. Jensen currently excelling that on top, and Dari, 111.2, goes at 12 behind Verstappen, and he's just going to get out of the way of the Alfa Romeo there. I think that's Jerome coming out the pit lane. In fact, it's Rick coming out the pit lane, and is blocking the road entirely, and has got a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. Use your wing mirrors, man. Use your wing mirrors. It's as simple as that. You've got to be aware. What was the famous phrase by... You've got to be aware on a street circuit. Something like that. From Jolyon Palmer back in the day. And Dari is getting out of the way. I'm not sure if he was in AI mode there. Regardless, he has got 5-place ground penalty. So, Sully might not actually finish up in last position at the end of this qualifying session. But yeah, it is such a tight track. Such a tight track. Even with Izzat invalidating through the middle sector there. He was not on a really good lap at all. Singapore now comes into the pit lane. Peas. We've got a cucumber. We've got peas. Who next? What vegetable, what fruit could we have next, potentially, in terms of Division 1? He's now coming through the final corner on the run toward the line. And he is next to set up on a lap, and he's currently 14th. Not a lap time set on the boards. Red Bull just coming out of the pit lane, I think, is Killer. And already, Pease invalidates too much coming through turn number 1, which is not that great from his perspective. Whiter as well, just preparing up for a lap. He's coming through the right-hander there to turn number 1 at Sanderbot. Now up the hill in towards Massenet once again. Of course, 2 corners, 2 tracks actually named with Massenet. Massenet, of course, in Belgium as well, along with Monaco, if you didn't know that. Whiter 19.5 in the first sector is not on a really valid lap at all, and you can see he's not actually pushing, so maybe trying to get heat into the tyres, maybe going for a very high fuel load, and then, of course, trying to excel out on track in terms of that Williams trying to, of course, get up the field. But Jensen out on top, Gary there in second, Nathan there in third. Gary's just setting up onto a lap as well. Alp now is the one I'm going to focus on, however. He's on that set-us-off compound tyre now, so normally when I come around here and say set of mediums for set-us-offs, as Rick has crashed out through the Nivelle chicane, I can only assume he's got caught in the inside wall and then has gone further left into the wall on the left-hand side. And Rick led down there in 8th position, but Alp is on the lap. Normally when I say mediums to softs, I normally think about 8 tenths for a second gain in terms of the laps, and he's already 2 tenths up in the first sector. 18.4 from the Turk, the joint championship leader coming into tonight. And of course, if he does outscore Selly, he will be outclassed as the championship, or he will be classed as the championship leader, of course, coming into, or out of tonight, into round 6 of the championship next week. Alp comes through the tunnel section on the run now down in toward the Nivelle chicane. Get caught on this left-hand side wall, you will end up spearing off into the wall, as Rick has proven, as Alp now comes through this middle sector split. This is looking really dead on from Alp. 51.4 in the middle sector, Slippery Cucumber, however, goes quickest. But how quick is Alp going? Very quick indeed. Bounces off the wall on the right-hand side, coming out of the Piscine section, now in towards Anthony Mills at turn 19. This will look like a very good lap from Alp. Very Larry on the exit curb on the run to the line. And he doesn't go quick as he goes 4th in the end. Still a good lap, a 109.4. But his teammate, Slippery Cucumber, bit slippery out in front. Campbell now in second. And Jensen there in third. He is just coming out the pit lane. Yildirim as well, I think, has gone 5th. Gary there in 6th is just preparing up, I think, for a run. The Irishman on the run up towards Massenet. Nathan as well, just starting up on the lap. He's coming to the final sector. Gary, visible hit there on the right-hand side curb. 18.5 to the first sector, though, it's not too bad. from the Irishman whatsoever. Yeah, Slippery Cucumber leads the way, Campbell in second, Jensen there in third, and Gary now, the Irishman, running down into the Portier section on track, of course, with the Circuit of Monte Carlo being such a tight track. The first ever race around here in 1929, which is just, what, 80 years before I was born, potentially? No, 1997, 1929... 68 year before I was born, the first race around here, and this is how I don't remember half of these things and just have to look at it on history books. 51.7 though from Gary in the middle sector, very much committed there compared to Alp, and now coming through the final couple of corners. Doesn't look like a very decent lap from Gary, running out of ERS toward the end of his lap, but he is looking good. Maybe to go ahead of Alp here, on the run to the line. Just fall shy, actually doesn't improve by much on the 10th of a second there, but he does go into 6th position. Nathan as well, a potential pole sitter. He, coming through the Nivelle chicane, just hopped over the curb very nicely. He's coming through the middle sector split now. Look at how gorgeous Monaco looks at night. 2.5 tenths up at the middle sector from Nathan. Thought he actually nearly invalidated through there. Nearly invalidated again coming out the swimming pool section. And now in toward the right hand of La Rascas, in towards Anthony Norge. Slippery Cucumber though out on top, and Nathan, you heard that hit on the wall, right hand side wall hit there from Nathan on the run to the line, doesn't actually improve by much. 109.771 is only 0.05 of a second off Gary at this stage. Cucumber out on top, Campbell there in second, Jensen there in third. What will be ultimately, I think, what would just be perfect, I think, in this qualifying session. Peas and Cucumber out on top, front row of the grid. That's what I'm certainly expecting. I know I'm certainly expecting a good lap here from Jensen. He's not on a valid run at this stage. He looks like he's going to go for one inside lap and then go for his full flying lap. So that is going to be Jensen. With a 109.2, he set the bar quite high. He now needs to raise that ceiling even higher. He needs to go and ideally break into the 109s to really bring about a change in this qualifying session. You see yellow flags there. Don't worry about that whatsoever down into the tunnel section. But Jensen is certainly one of the ones to watch out for. The 109.2, he looks to try and gain, of course, up the field. The Cucumber out on top, Campbell there in second, Jensen third, with just over 6 minutes to go in the session. Your now ended up on his lap, 52 flat through the middle sector, hasn't looked too bad. The FEL man now on the run to the line, 110 flat, that's more like it from your own. 4.5 tenth improvement, pops himself up to 8th position ahead of Gladbach, who is in 9th position, and there's a big gap actually from Gladbach to Wouter, who were still two valid runners in that 9th and 11th position. Rick, of course, crashing out a little bit earlier on in the session, so he's down in 10th position on a 110.5 and obviously can't improve on his run. Somebody that might, though, is Verstappen. He's now coming to the right-hander of Portier, or into Portier right now. Comes out of Portier, now running adjacent to the Quai Laurendale, which is the pier, actually, that spawns where basically the boats are. That is what it's actually known as. I bet you didn't know that. Verstappen coming through the middle sector split. 52.3. This is not the Verstappen sort of time as Girona's crashing in the Nivelle chicane. That, I think, was on a down lap, and Verstappen, I think, is definitely on a down lap here. He's running low on fuel. I wouldn't be surprised if he bails into the pit lane, and yeah, that's exactly what he's done. Verstappen bailing into the pit lane. Slippery Cucumber again on another lap, all right on board with the AlphaTauri man. Our first sight, actually, of the AlphaTauri man in LOE Division 1 this season. Montana clearly knows a lot more about him than me, so please tell me more about him in the comment section, Montana, if you're still here. Oh, is that Jeroen's car is parked completely in the middle of the Nivelle chicane, and that is putting up so many drivers. Now the car goes, but that, honestly, this is Codemasters at its absolute finest. Slippery Cucumber, unfortunately, was on a really good lap there, and in the end, he just gets absolutely bomb-sighted by an Alfa Romeo, completely in the way, after Jeroen, of course, crashed out the session. Absolutely unbelievable, and I've certainly never seen anything like that around here in Monaco before. A car parked basically right in the middle of the racing line, and not only did him, as that Alpes picked up a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Gary. And that was the other driver that I was going to come on board with. I think that was just before the pit lane where that might have happened. But Gary's just on a lap. I think Alp obviously hasn't realised that he's actually going on to a lap. There might have been a bit of contact. And Alp now, 5-place grid penalty, 2 championship leaders in the wash at the minute in qualifying. As Gary through the first sector, 10th and a half up through the first sector. Cucumber, though, was looking good through the first sector as well. I don't think he's actually on a better run compared to what he was on. But it really strikes the point. What on earth what on earth are Co-Masters even doing with not removing cars as quick as possible? As Cucumber absolutely obliterated. Speaking of obliterating, I think Campbell has been in the wall there on the left-hand side end plate. So Monaco really catching out the best drivers even in Louis Division 1. What I was going to say, Co-Masters really need to act their game up, I think, and really up their game in comparison to what we saw there with Jeroen's car. That car could have easily been moved, obviously not putting people off, but then again, calling the game is so terrible, therefore you can't really justify that, as Gary there in 6th position with a 109.7. Alp certainly getting a 5-place grid penalty, and he's certainly voicing his opinions. 5-place grid penalty for absolutely nothing. Alp, what happened in the comment section? If you don't mind. I didn't see that on my screen. I was too busy running on board with Cucumber, and then he invalidated, of course, with Jeroen. So let me know about that, because honestly, that seemed completely and utterly strange. I can only assume he's gone slow coming through Raskas, and then the game has automatically given him a 5-place grid penalty. That is what I think has happened. But I'd rather hear from the horse's mouth itself, if you like, in Alp, rather than try and make up my own fallacies and then be completely wrong about it. But we've got 3 minutes to go in the session. Cucumber leads the way, Campbell in second, Jensen third. We are on board now with Austrian race winner Rocco on the run up the hill in towards turn number 3 at Massenet. Nearly forgot how many corners this track actually had. Rocco though through the first sector, not looking too bad, and 18.5 is there or thereabouts in the first sector. Not obviously as quick as the guys at top, but he is going to try and improve towards Jeroen, Gladbach, Rick, that sort of area. Jeroen there in the comment section, or you're in, I should say, in the comment section. Rocco getting very wide there, coming just before Portier. Gladbach fan base is in the chat, which is good to see. I can tell because there's 26 people watching. Cucumber leads the way, Campbell in second, Jensen there in third. Rocco now down into the Neville chicane. Bit of snap there actually on the curb. Nearly put him in the wall and just about recovered the car nicely. Rocco hits the curb again, hits the wall on the right hand side, 10th and a half up, not looking too bad, but he's absolutely all over the place and he's in the wall. Rocco is in the wall out of frustration, I'm absolutely sure of that. Nobody around him out on track, but hopefully that's not going to prove a little bit of an insight as well, because there's an AlphaTauri just coming through that part of the track. I think that's actually Alp, who's just coming through the track just to prepare up for a lap. It is indeed Alp who's preparing up for a lap. The Cucumber out on top from Campbell in second, Jensen there in third. Gladbach at the minute is down in 9th position. Hasn't had a really strong qualifying session so far. That, of course, can certainly change. Montana, obviously, also saying, certified Rocco moment. Yeah, totally agree on that. That was typical Rocco. Too much hitting of the wall, too much banging, and that is Monaco at its absolute finest right there. And he was definitely playing ping pong with the walls, that is for sure. Alp, though, one of the favourites potentially for pole position. That's before he picked up a 5-place grid penalty for blocking Gary coming out of Raskas. He's there in 4th position, looking quite good. Jensen's just... Oh, and Jensen's actually was on a lap, 51.3 in the middle sector, but he smashed his front wing in half, coming through Anthony Noj, and that is him done. Izzat has crashed through the Neville chicane. Alp's coming through this part of the track now, and look where the car is, right in the middle. Luckily, Alp gets through there just about with invalidating his lap. He's now coming through the left-hander of to back, and he's 400 down, so that obviously knocked a bit of confidence out of him coming through that part of the track. Really, really strong going through the swim pool section, almost too strong. Hit the wall on the right-hand side. Out now, of course, he will start at this stage in 9th position as a result of that 5-place grid penalty, but can Alp go further quickest? He does, he goes 4th still, so he will go into 9th position as it stands. Yilboom's not on a lap, I don't think. Jensen's certainly not on a lap. Neither's Campbell, he's had a bit of a front wing change, front wing damage as well. Left side unplate. Cucumber, however, is on a lap, and he's up in the 1st sector. Set right on board with him, coming to the 1st sector, now through the middle sector, underneath the tunnel. Red Bull there, crashing out, that I think was Izzat still, or Gary's actually, I think, just crashed out through the Neville chicane as Cucumber now comes through the final couple of corners in this middle sector, in towards the back, is looking very, very consistent so far on this lap. Beautiful, 51.1 in the middle sector is huge, and this is the man for pole position. Beautiful again, coming through the swimming pool section. How to announce your arrival, this is the way in Monaco. Cucumber now coming through the final couple of corners, slipping and sliding all the way through the final corner. That was absolutely insane, on the run to the line, and that's not getting beaten at all. A 108.8, that is what Cucumber can do. Montana had faith in him, I clearly didn't. This is my first season, my first time seeing him, but my God almighty, how to announce your arrival. 4/10 of a second ahead of Campbell. Cucumber out on top, Campbell in second, Jensen in third. Absolutely world-class lap from Cucumber, and that is how you drive a lap around Monaco. Absolutely sublime. Superlatives don't go far enough as to what we've just witnessed there with that lap, because that was absolutely stunning from the AlphaTauri man. Out on top, Campbell there in second, Jensen there in third. I feel sorry for any Division 2 driver that might try and get close to that tonight, but he looked absolutely beautiful, serene, like a swan coming through the final sector, bouncing on the curbs obviously, especially through this part of the track that he's coming through now. But it's Cucumber out on top in an absolute demolition job in the end of Monaco qualifying. But it's the Canadian out on top, Slippery Cucumber from Campbell there in second, Jensen there in third. Alp will start fourth, however, he's got that 5-place grid penalty. So has, of course, Darry further down the field. Yildirim, Gary, Nathan, Gladbach and Jeroen will all move ahead of Alp. So Yildirim will be 4th, Gary 5th, Nathan 6th, Gladbach 7th, Jeroen and 8th. Alp will be down in 9th position as a result of that 5-place grid penalty. Reiter there in 10th, Rick there in 11th, with Killer there in 12th, Darry in 13th. He will see drop down to 18th position, and that means actually he's starting right at the back of the field because Verstappen is at Rocco, Pease and Selly all move above him. Darry there is going to be starting, of course, right down at the back of the field. But Slippery Cucumber out on top, and my oh my, how to announce your arrival on the LOE Division 1 scene. That is how you do it, my friend. Absolutely sublime lap. Enough superlatives, I think, to cover a whole season in Division 1 has just been used up in one qualifying session in Monaco. And you know what? He might be very hard to beat, I think, in this race. We've got no rain at this moment in time in the race, which is good. Hopefully there is no rain due in the race either. But what we can bring you, of course, is the formation lap, which will be coming up in around 30 seconds time. Let me know, though, who you're predicting in the comment section for your top 3. Definitely Cucumber, I think, has got to be within your top 3 predictions. Absolutely certain about that, because that lap, if that is 1 lap pace, I look forward to seeing what his 39 lap pace is, because he just looked absolutely unbelievable. I'm assuming everyone will start on a sort of hard compounded tyres around here. Now, I did PSGL F2 around here earlier on in the season, and the way that Monaco was approached, we're not going to get really any safety cars, we're not going to get any VSCs. There is a glitch on the game, which obviously forces no VSCs or safety cars to come out for some absolutely odd reason here in Monaco. So they're really now relying on their own skill level, their own skill set, and their own mentality at the end of the day as well. Monaco is called the jewel in the crown for nothing, and are we going to see the potential jewel in the crown in terms of Cucumber winning this race? Who knows? We will find out in 39 laps time. Montana saying Cucumber is up 2.0, Sketchy set up some weird race pace. Okay. Hopefully weird race starts. Can we put that in as well? Alp has not had the best start, of course, in recent weeks, so I'm hoping that Alp does not, or it does deliver off the start this week. He has been getting coached by Campbell, I think, off the start, so has got to be hoping that down in 9th position, he has got to have that hard work in for absolutely something. Forza Brendan saying as well, Gary Adams for a podium. Not Jerry Adams, I hope, because that is somebody totally different. But Cucumber out on top, Campbell in second, Jensen there in third. Currently is the top 3, of course. Let's have a look at the strategies that everyone is on, by the way. Bit of a mixed bag, actually. I was assuming that everyone was going to start on the set of hard compound tyres. It is the simple one-stop strategy. So I'm a bit shocked that Yildirim, first and foremost, is on a set of mediums. Alpa's got to make up some positions somehow, so I don't blame him for going to a set of mediums. White are the same down in 10th. He might have good race pace. Isaac, Pease, Selly and Darry. Not surprised with Selly on the mediums. He's got to make up for lost time as well. Everyone else that I haven't named on that set of hard compound tyres. So 11 drivers in the field on a set of hards and 7 on that set of medium compound of tyre. Jav saying Rick is winning. No, we're winning. It's Super Saturday in Eurovision. We are winning tonight. Cucumber out on top from Campbell in second, Jensen there in third, and now the 5 red lights are about to go out very soon indeed. And my prediction for the top 3, by the way, Cucumber for the win, Yildirim for second, and for third, I hope he gets back to form, Mr. Jensen. Watch out for Sully though, right down the back of the field from 17th on the grid. The final car is now drawn up. Darry just pointing the way on the right-hand side. You can see he's going to try and get that run in towards turn 1. We'll take the start from Campbell's perspective. 5 red lights going out here for Division 1 in Monaco. The jewel in the crown. And it's lights out and away we go, and Jensen gets a very good start, so does Campbell, and Campbell might actually be around the outside and towards Sander Bott. He tries to look to the outside line, in towards someone, he's gone too deep, and actually there's a bit of contact there, I think, from Yildirim on the back, and now Jensen and Campbell are both ghosting inside of each other, running towards Massenet. Jensen out through and he's into second, Campbell there in third, somebody trying to go side by side, coming through, and then there's Alp trying, I think, go around the outside of Killer. In the end, oh, absolute carnage in the background, but Alp sweeps through on the inside line, 2 for 1 and a corner, and Alp is through and he's into 8th position, not messing about whatsoever. Wouter in the end and Gladbach got caught in a collision. Now they filter through the Grand Hotel hairpin. Cucumber though leads the way. Jensen there in second, Campbell there in third. There's Red Bull ghosting in the background. I think I spy potentially is out with a little bit of wing damage on the left side unplate, but Gladbach and Wouter still side by side. Now coming through the tunnel section for the first time. Sally's made his way through into 15. Certainly Izzard has got damage if he didn't already. Left side unplate just hit off the wall coming through the tunnel section. And now Gladbach absolutely parking the bus, similar to a John-Eric Verne incident. Rocco has lost his front wing in the background of shot. Absolute carnage in the background of shot. Now in the foreground of shot though, up front, Cucumber leads the way. Jensen there in second, Campbell there in third. And at the end of lap 1, the Canadian leads the way from the Brit in second, and Gladbach, unfortunately, the Gladbach fan base are not going to be rejoicing because he is down at the back of the field. Cucumber leads the way at the end of lap 1. Great start though by Al. Perfect start. Obviously Gladbach and I think it was Wouter got caught in each other, and therefore Alp's trying to go down the inside in towards Massenet. This will be brilliant, and he gets the job done. Alp through, and he's into 7th, and I think Nathan also just trying to fight off Yildirim in towards Mirabeau. Now down into this part of the track. Beautiful stuff by Alp. He's soon he's into 7th. He is absolutely crisping his way through the field so far. And the Turk American, I should say, on the back of Yildirim already. And he looks so quick in terms of the pace. But of course, time is of the essence. He needs to get these moves done as soon as possible. Coming through the tunnel, has got very good pace. Will he see that down into the tunnel section? Not quite. I think we're going to run line astern. Nathan in 5th, Yildirim in 6th there. And Alp there in 7th, pardon me. Wouter on the back of your own as well, and 8th and 9th. Let's have a look at the early position gains. We saw 4 drivers come in the pit lane. Izzard, Rick, Rocco and Gladbach have all lost positions. Most position gains though is Pease, that man there in 10th position. I think Jeroen's just clouted the wall there on the right hand side as well. Certainly Izzard came in the pit lane for full wing damage, so he's there down in 15th position. But looking at the position gains, Pease has gained 6. 2 positions gain as well for Alp, 4 positions gain for Sally. Speak of that, 5 positions gain now for Sally. Breeze has passed Verstappen on the exit of Nancy Nudge in towards turn 1, gets the job done, and he's into 12, and he is now trying to make his way through the field as well. As Yildirim again on the back of Nathan, can't find a way through, coming through Casino, now down in towards Mirabeau for the 3rd time. Of course, DRS is enabled this lap. Actually, it's enabled next lap because we haven't got, well, we've only got the 1 DRS zone, and that is down the start finish straight, so therefore we'll have DRS this lap, technically next lap as well. Cucumber leads the way though from Jensen there in 2nd, Campbell there in 3rd, and Alp is all over the back and actually inside of Yildirim, coming through Portier, now coming through the tunnel section. Somebody's going to have to give up on this. Hopefully we don't see this throughout the race. And Alp now and Yildirim are still ghosting inside of each other, coming through to back. Hopefully one of them is going to have to yield the position. Cloud of the wall from Alp, getting off foot, and Yildirim, I think, is now ahead. And again, ghosting system comes to play. Alp goes into a little bit too deep there into the piscine section at the swimming pool. And in the end, they came out of each other relatively unscathed. There's some innocent Haas baby, I think, going to be made out of that. But Alp there in 7th, still on the back. Yildirim on the back of Nathan, run up in towards turn 1 at Sander Bott. Cucumber leads the way, or as Yildirim gets caught on the inside curve there, right up on the inside wall. Just about recovered that safely. Sally, by the way, is going to try and go for one of my favourite moves around here. Maybe around the outside and towards Massenet. Thinks about the inside line, in fact. Might have the traction on the exit. Maybe down in towards Mirabeau. Not quite. I think Killer is just not relinquishing that position at all. Sally there in 12, doing a fantastic job. Montana saying, yeah, Alp must have got damage from that. The ghosting system then came into play. If he has got damage, it's certainly not visible on any end plate, so certainly not visible to the naked eye. Not visible to me anyways, so he's there in 7th. Might just be the ghosting system. They probably collided with each other. And now Sally on the back of Killer in towards the tunnel section. Has got 3% of ERS. Is he going to send it on the brakes? Not quite close enough. But now coming through, Stuffy Cucumber leads the way. Jensen in second, Campbell there in third, doing a good job at this stage. Getting to Thomas Everland in the chat. Hopefully you are doing very well indeed. Sally on the back though of Killer, 11th and 12th position. Sally though on the back, looking to try and break Killer's heart at this stage. And again, getting very close to the wall. You saw him hit the left side. He wants to try and get as much of a run as possible on the back of Killer, but who in turn is going to try and get the move done maybe in towards turn number one. This move is going to pull off. We just have to wait, and now maybe up the hill and towards Massenet. But again, no EOS on the car, and sadly can't get the job done. Bunty, by the way, also asking the question, who's the championship leader? Well, Sully is the championship leader on race results. He's picked up 2 wins compared to Alp, who is tied on points. Wouter has gone for a big collision there, down into the braking zone of Mirabeau. Unfortunately, has lost his front wing, so Wouter is going to have to get cost. And look who's involved in this. Sully, the championship leader, catching caught up to the back. Killer as well on the back, and both of them swimming their way out of Portier. But yeah, Alp and Sully tied for championship lead. Currently, Sully there in 12th position is championship leader by default because he's had most race wins compared to Alp, who hasn't had any, and it's an absolute car park into the Novelle chicane. Wouter there in 10th, Killer in 11th, Sully there in 12th, but Jensen has had a big, huge moment and he's in the pits. Jensen is in the pit lane, has lost a lot of time, right side end plate damage for the car, and the Mercedes is into the pit lane and the Brit into the pit, front wing change. Was suddenly seen why that gap was 3 seconds. That's why he's in the pit. Right side end plate damage on the car. That is unfortunate. Yildirim though on the back of Nathan is trying to somehow get his way through. Patience is a virtue around here. Somebody that isn't patient though certainly is Sully, as now Wouter's course got out of the way. Sully now can try and go for that move for the 3rd time on the back of Killer. Yeah, Cucumber leads the way, has taken that race a little bit off course. I'll turn back to the tyres, by the way, to see what everyone's on at this stage. Jensen, by the way, came in for that set of medium compound tyres, but Cucumber out on top. Campbell in second as Sally goes a bit deep into the Grand Hotel hairpin. This move, I promise you, will be pulled off at some point. He just has to wait. The Austrian just has to wait, and maybe down into the tunnel. He might try and get the job done, but looking at that EOS blinking light, that is good news for Sally, because he can use up his EOS. He's got 8% running down the hill into the Novelle chicane. It was a bit deep, and again, Sally on the back of Killer is just wanting to try and force his way through if possible, shunt his way through if he can. Of course, that is not the rules and regulations around here. You've got to wait and got to give your driver respect. Even around Monaco, you've got to stay street smart on a street circuit, as Alp is staying street smart on the back of Yildirim in towards turn number 1. Look to try and get the move done. I think Yildirim had a mistake. Sally once again on the back, now to the inside of centre-field at turn number 1. Doesn't get the job done. Now up the hill and towards Massenet. Might pull this off. He has to try and somehow get his way. That Red Bull is looking as wide as possible. But Sally, there will come a time where he has to just get the elbows out and get this job done. It's Monaco at the end of the day, and the worst thing to do around Monaco is wait. Sally is waiting for what? He's getting held up 6 seconds by Killer, and if I was him, I would have gone for the move by now. The Cucumber leads the way. There's a yellow flag, and that is Jensen again. Jensen again, who has had a moment coming out of right side end plate damage again for the car. In fact, he's got a T-tray, I think, on that car. Jensen there in 13th. I said form would be absolutely key for him to come back into the race, and unfortunately his form is lacking him down. It's Monaco at the end of the day, but again, he's out of sorts in league racing entirely, Jensen. He is going to be moving on, of course, in terms of work commitments. LOE is going to be one of the leagues as Yildirim hits a huge wall on the right hand side there. Raskas just about came out of that on the other side of things, and now Alp's all over the back of him again. And Jensen, the tyres out on track. That won't be a safety car, I don't think. We normally don't get any safety cars around here. You're all no to the inside on a Massenet. Oh no! Tries to get the job done. Not quite close enough. There are so many moves happening as Sally has finally, as we've gone off ball with him, I did say it would happen at some point. It has, without us watching. Sally through in his into 9, got through on Killer. I think that was a mistake by Killer coming down to turn number 1. And Sally there through in his into 9. Killer dropping down. I wonder if he's got a little bit of damage, might have clattered the wall somewhere. But Sully has managed to get his way through. He's there in 9, now in free clear air. What can he do? What is the battle ahead going to do as well? As that was right on the back of Yildirim in toward the Novelle chicane. Not quite close enough. We're not running on board with the leaders, by the way, because they're simply strung out like a washing line at the stage. Just Cucumber out on top, Campbell in second, Gary in third. And if you were one of the top three predictors so far, well done to you. I'm absolutely nowhere near, apart from Cucumber winning, which is, God almighty! Alp, how on earth has he saved that? Snapped one way, snapped the other way, then snapped another, and then got the car back going in a straight line again. How on earth has he kept that out of the wall? I do not know. Especially so it's more Monaco based, but come on. How has he kept that out of the wall? I do not know. That was phenomenal. Cucumber leads the way though. Campbell in second, Gary there in third. Yeah, Jensen things, definitely. It's a shame because Jensen has had so much good form on this game cycle. It's coming toward the end of the game cycle, and obviously he's got other things on his mind. As I say, I think he's going to be starting work very soon. I know he's certainly not committing to TML for the rest of the season as much as what he would hope, and that has a knock-on effect during the week. WOR last night didn't have the best race, out in Belgium, and now out of the race again in Monaco. I'm not trying to make up excuses, he's just simply out of form. He is simply out of form, and there comes a time and a place where you've got to think to yourself, mentally and physically, is it game over? Is it really game over? And I'm not saying that by Jensen. Jensen is one of the best out there on the PS platform. But in his current state of mind and his current form, it'd be, from my perspective, very concerning if I was in his mind at this stage, because who knows what is going through his mind down there in 18th position, and obviously out the race. Nathan though, 4th, Ilbriman 5th, out there in 6th, running up the hill in towards Sandoval once again. This is the closest battle, as I say, that we have got out on track. Darry into the pit lane as well, I think has picked up a bit of damage potentially on the car. As into the Grand Hotel hairpin, Yildirim looked to the inside line there, I think, on Nathan. Just rode up on the curb a little bit too much, but still there in 4th. Yildirim there in 5th, out there in 6th. And doing a good job so far at this stage, running now down in towards the tunnel section. And again, this is the move that I think has got to happen at some point. Whether or not it's Nathan making a mistake, whether or not it's Yildirim absolutely gunning for it and just trying to get the job done, he's there in 5th position. And he's got to try at some point. It's Monaco at the end of the day. You do not want to be sitting on your laurels around here. You do not want to be sitting and making mistakes like that, as Yildirim has just done. He was there in 5th, doing a good job, and Alp's in the pits. Alp is into the pit lane. I wonder if this is for a front wing change. And is it? Is there a front wing out there? Yes, there is. Front wing change on the car. Certainly not as visible damage as what I would have thought, but I think it's the right side end plate. Looking at that rear wing in the back, the front wing in the background, that is right side end plate damage for Alp at this stage. They're down in 11th position. Yeah, Alp now coming out of the pit lane behind Wouter, and that means he is going to be maybe in a whole heap of trouble. Now, the thing is, as long as he stays at the walls, set a hard compound of tyres is going to get him to the end of the race, but he was involved in that P4, P5, P6 battle, so therefore Alp has missed potentially a big opportunity towards the end of the race, because he's there in 13th, doing a good job, but he's got to hope above hope that he can get to the end of the race on the compound of tyres. It is a very, very shallow tyre wear around here as well. So that really does come into his play late on. Obviously, with that 5-second penalty, which of course he can't get investigated at this stage. Devon 13, doing a good job. Cucumber leading the way there, Campbell in second, Gary there in third. Yildirim again, all over the back of Nathan, coming around the final corner at Anthony Norge. On the run towards turn number 1. Is he going to try and dummy it to the inside line? Not quite close enough. And Nathan heads to the wall. This is the opportunity for Yildirim up the hill. Has he got the speed? No, he hasn't got the speed. And still, Nathan holds 4th. Yildirim there in 5th, and Yildirim nearly into the back of him coming through Matinee. And then towards Casino, and runs out wide on the bump there on the inside. And now Yaron, all of a sudden, is into contention in this battle as well. The FEL man doing a good job. Cucumber leading the way. Campbell in second, Gary there in third. As I'm just going to try and blow my nose for a second, because I feel like I've got a bit of congestion developing. It's not easy being me, it's not easy being a solo commentator. Yildirim on the back of Nathan, trying to run on board with this now for now at least. But I'm gonna, oh, as Yildirim really, really late on the brakes, gets into the back there of Nathan. You saw the dust kick up from the brakes on the rear suspension. And Nathan there in fourth. Yildirim and Faith remain as they are. But I'm just gonna clear my throat a little bit, have a drink, and I'll be back with you in about a minute. Sally now on the back of Pease, run up the hill, and Pease nearly shuts the door on him up the hill in towards Massenet. And Sally now, all of a sudden, as I mentioned, was going to get on the back of these guys sooner rather than later. And again, a bit sideways there from Pease. Sally looks to try, and Sally the dummy, potentially to the inside line of Mirabel. That's a terrible one on me. That might be the worst one of the season. Sally there in 8th, doing a good job. Pease there in 7th. Sally there in 8th is going to have to try and find his way through at some point in this race. But yeah, nothing really happening. This is the closest battle on track, so this is why I'm following the battle down on track. Alp, by the way, is on the back of Wouter for 12th and 13th position at this stage. Looking at the chat there as well, Super saying in the chat, is Cucumber always this dominant? I tell you now, this is his first race that I've ever seen him drive. And it's his first race in LOE Division 1 this season, so we can't really make up anything as Yildirim's into the pit lane. I'm going to assume that's for an early set for a set of hard compounder tyres. But yeah, Cucumber is doing a phenomenal job. 8.6 seconds, he's not this dominant out on track, but he is doing phenomenally well out there in the race. And speaking of phenomenally well, Sully I think was going to look to the outside line there, and Massenet tries to get the job done through there, doesn't. He's there in 6th, Sully in 7th, remain there as they are. Jensen saying every single time on traction. Yeah, traction is a real bummer around this track. Once you get caught, once you go and get caught on that throttle, the car just spins. The car just literally spins, and again, it just comes back to that point. You've got to be following the throttle so much on this game compared to previous versions. That's why I think Jensen was stronger on previous versions, and I'm sure he'll agree with me on that as well. But yeah, out in front, the gaps are massive. The gaps are absolutely huge out in front, and there is a reason why I'm not following these guys, because they're just too dominant. They're running away from each other. Cucumber has got godly setup. 92% of ERS he's got. Campbell's got 17% and he can't even keep up. Absolutely unbelievable. Gary there in 3rd is doing a fantastic job. They're strung out like a washing line. Pease is into the pit lane to react to Yildirim coming in. That was for a set of hard compounder tyres, and he is on the other side of the track, so the Hatters could come out together here, potentially. It's into the pit lane. I'm not sure if that's a front wing waiting as well for him. No, there's not. Just tyre change. Hard compounder tyres on. And that will get him to the end of the race. And there is Yildirim. Left-hand side of the track, right-hand side now. And he's passed him. So Yildirim is ahead. And that's actually worked out quite well for the Haas boys, because Pease there is ahead of Rick coming out the pit lane. And Rick actually is going to risk it up the hill. I don't think he will. Alp is going to try and risk it on the back of Wouter. Looks the inside line coming through Massenet. In the end, not getting the job done, but he's on fresher tyres. He's got to think about where to pull off this move. Now down towards Mirabel. We could see a 2 for 1. We're certainly going to get one. Oh, and the Haas is in the wall. That's Pease in the wall. Fresh out the pit lane. Snaps his front wing. And that's him out the race coming through the Grand Hotel hairpin. Pease snaps. Just locked up completely on the brakes. In the wall. And Pease out of the race from what looked like a really promising position out behind Yildirim. In the end, Monaco bites back. That is 2-0 to Monaco so far. And if this was a 90-minute game, certainly there'll be half-time substitutions coming in at this point. That's unfortunate. Now that means Sally comes in the pit lane. He's technically got a free pit stop on Nathan and your own, who were ahead of him. Such a shame. Such a shame. He did have cold tyres, definitely. And the hards, they normally wear up about 10 laps into this stint. So Pease out of the race. Yildirim is also out of the race, and he's retired in the pit lane. Yildirim is retired in the pit lane. Sully out of the pit lane. Now is side by side with Alp. This is interesting. These are the championship leaders, and they're going side by side up the hill. And Alp just about finds a gap for the AlphaTauri. Sully now on the outside line, in towards Massenet. Tries to go around the outside. Alp holds him. Alp holds him to the inside line. That is absolutely crucial. They're both tied for points in the championship. Every point counts. Alp is ahead of Sully, Who would have seen that one coming? Sully now behind Alp, his closest championship rival, level on point into tonight. There is a yellow flag in the middle sector. I think that's Wouter that's gone straight on down towards Mirabeau. But Alba's ahead of Selly. This is now the battle to ride a bull with, because this is the battle, believe it or not, for the championship lead. 8th and 9th position. As it stands, Alp would be, what, a point clear, I think, actually, of Selly coming into next week. As it stands, anything can happen in 17 laps out of 39. Cucumber leads away Campbell, second Gary in third. Cucumber is gaining around 3 or 4 tenths of the lap on Campbell. And out there doing a good job as Wouter is out of the race. That's through to back, turn number 12. It's unfortunate there for him. Alp and Selly, though, about to go to war once again. As I say, there was just about an AlphaTauri-shaped gap up the outside line running up the hill. And Selly now has got more ERS than him. This is perfect from Sully's perspective because he is being dragged into the race by Alp in front. Of course, these guys are not going to fight out for the race win unless we get a very rare safety car, as predictably the game could throw out. But if we get a very late safety car, or we do get a safety car at all, that means Sully on the back of Alp could happen potentially for one of the guys. Right, yeah, Montana still glitched. Still glitch is the safety car. We've had 3 crashes. Same in PSGL F2, we had multiple crashes then as well, and unfortunately, yeah, it's Monaco, and again, co-masters really need to sort the game out, especially for Monaco next game, and just provide, well, not better racing around here, but certainly better opportunities, I think, for safety cars to come out, because it can save drivers' races, and as it stands, everyone's still on the lead lap as well. Everyone's still on the lead lap. Simply Cucumber, I think, has actually just lapped Darry. The Cucumber has actually lapped Darry. Campbell is miles behind, coming through the tunnel section. It's now 10 seconds the gap for that race lead. Your own on the back of Nathan running down towards Mirabeau is looking quite close. But in the end, not looking quite close enough. Yeah, but it is very much a glitch of the safety car on this game. Certainly around this track, it's not like the case on many of the other tracks as well. Portugal, I know there's a little bit glitched in there as well. But yeah, lap 19 out of 39. This is going to be interesting. Selly on the back of Alp still once again. Looking to try and get the move done around the outside. Now towards 48. Underneath the tunnel. Of course, the tunnel famously used as two-way traffic. On the left-hand side is the right way, on the right-hand side is the wrong way. Basically going up the hill, if you like. And these are two-way streets in Monaco. If you've ever been to Monaco, which I'm sure many of you haven't, but if you have been to Monaco, and if you've actually seen it on even a simple YouTube video, you will realise these are actually main roads that these drivers are racing on. Transform once a year, of course, into the Monaco Grand Prix circuit, and how legendary it can be with providing some really good action. Gladbach, by the way, this is one for the Gladbach fan base. If you're still there with us, he's there in 12th position on the back of Rocco. The McLarens about to do better. They're both on the same strategy. Both have been on the pit lane at least once. And Rocco is going to make that McLaren look as wide as possible on the back of the German. Grit against the German. And you know who I'd be fancying in this battle? Gladbach, I think, on the back of Rocco. Towards turn 1, not getting the job done. But again, it's so difficult to try and even gain on this circuit. You need to be within 0.2 of a second coming out the first corner at Sandoval just to get the run up the hill. And Rocco there is struggling. I'm not sure if he's got potential damage on the right side. If he has, it's not really affecting him. Oh, it's Gladbach nearly goes into the back there of Rocco, but he is doing a good job there in 12th position. And again, locks up in toward the Grand Hotel hairpin. Gets a really good exit actually out. And Rocco is trying to make that as wide as possible. That goes to car, by the way. If you saw that in the background, that's Rick. Slippery Cucumber is within 2 seconds behind him, so that is why the ghosting system is coming into effect in behind. Darius had a mistake as well, just coming out of Portier. But yeah, Rick is now, as you can see, well, not now, you can. Once he gets within 1.5 seconds, I think, does Slippery Cucumber, ghosting system comes into effect, so that means he's going to be having that 10-second penalty. Darius lost his front wing, and has caused a 10-second penalty to be added to his time at the end of the race, of course, and I'm assuming that was not on purpose whatsoever. He had no front wing. Don't blame him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he actually retires if Verstappen all of a sudden and Killer I've been caught up by Alpenselli. Alpenselli now on the back of a 4-car train. This is now turned into, as Darry does retire into the pit lane. I do not blame him at all. Monaco again claims another victim. It's currently 5-0 to Monaco in this. But out on the back of Verstappen, is he going to look for the move? Does he want to risk the move? He is the championship, or he is the potential championship leader after all. But if he makes a mistake, makes contact with Verstappen, who picks up a 3-second penalty for his pains, out there and 8, doing a good job, has got Sally right on the back of him. So no matter how you will look at this situation, Alp could go for the move, Verstappen and him could go side by side, and then Sally can gain on them both. That is the situation we could end up in, and do you know what? He thinks about the outside of Raskas, maybe to get the exit as Verstappen is in to the pit lane. I think he picked up damage as well, maybe at the Nivelle chicane. But Alp now clear of Verstappen, which at least is good, but he's got Killer ahead of him. And Killer made that Red Bull look as well as possible in that battle with the guys earlier on. I think it was with Wouter, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit earlier on. He's there in 6th position, doing a good job at this stage. Out on the back though, Killer, too much on the back. And now Sally going to try and take opportunistic down in towards Mirabeau. But again, braking points are so limited here to try and get the job done. They're just going to have to sit, wait, suffer the consequences out on track. Cucumber Bowbase 12 seconds down in front, and there's a distinct possibility he could do a Campbell around 2 and win by 20 seconds. And I'm not even joking about this performance. He has looked absolutely phenomenal so far. Killer though in 6th. Alp in 7th, Sully in 8th. The championship leaders now make their way through the swimming pool section as my headset is getting on my nerves. Got a little bit of a sore ear. Out into the wall there. Was there white cell end plate damage flying off the car there? There might have just been a bit of white cell end plate damage. I thought I saw something metallic fly off the front wing. Sally looks to the outside line of Askas. Now for the inside. Now towards Anthony Noge. Can get the job done. And now he's close enough. Sally with much more battery. Is he going to use it up maybe up the hill and towards turn number 3? I want to see him move around the outside of Massenet. I'm crying out for this. It's been nearly 6-7 years I've seen this move happen and nobody has done it. Sally trying to go now around the outside and toward Massenet. Tries to get the job done, but Al just shuts the door on him and he cannot make it too wide through there. And now Sally down and towards Mirabeau has to try and get a bit Larry, and Alp's gone very deep on the brakes. He's got right side end plate damage. You can tell that with the right side out completely off after that hit of the wall at the back. And now Killer all of a sudden is beginning to get away. Sally needs to find a way through somehow. Alp is stoic his defence. As it stands, Alp leading the championship. Sally, if he takes this move, he will lead the championship despite this penalty. And looks to the inside line into the Nivelle chicane. Doesn't get the job done. Alp's gone deep though. Sally has gone a bit too deep on the brakes as well. And in the end they cancel each other out and they're still 7th and 8th. But yeah, Alp right side end plate damage. I saw something metallic fly off the front wing in the background, a shot. And that means Alp, unfortunately, is he going to come in the pit lane? Is it too much for him? Sally is hassling all over the back of the AlphaTauri. He does not want to give this up though, as Rocco picks up a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. But Sally there doing a good job. Is that now another penalty? That's through the swimming pool section, I think. And now Sally up the hill, surely going to get the job done this time around. He's not even on the ERS and he doesn't even want to try and make the overtake. He's going to have to think about this somehow. If there's anywhere, it's here. It's Massenet. He needs to go for the move through Massenet Casino Square and then get the job done down the hill. But again, Alp is so good in his defence. Cannot find a way through. The nature of the beast here in Monaco. Sally is trying to find the Mercedes-shaped gap out of absolute thin air. And in 7th and 8th, this honestly is really good battling. Even though we haven't seen a move yet, this is really good battling between them both. Rocco Balways is back in the pit lane. And he, I think, has been lapped as well. So Rocco has been lapped. Zal makes that call look as well as possible coming out of the Nivelle chicane. And now down into the left-hand road to back. Sally right on the back of him. One mistake, that could be curtains for either of these in the championship. But now, taking it just cautiously out. Again, Sully looks to the outside line coming out of Askas. Corrects his steering. Killer gets out of the way. This is now battle on for 6th. This is now crucial. Sully has got clear air in front of him. Alp uses up the DRS. Uses up that ERS as well. Down in towards turn number 1. goes a bit deep, and now Selly on the arrest, now up the hill and toward Massenet. Surely this is the job done for Selly, and it is indeed. Selly around the outside in toward Massenet, gets that job done. He had to wait, he was patient. In the end, Alp, his front wing damage enough to get Selly through, and he's into 6th, and now Selly is let loose around the streets of Monaco. How much gap is he going to make on the back of Jeroen and Nathan? Who can tell? 16.4 seconds is the gap, and I would not be surprised at all, because the guys, of course, still have to come in the pit lane. Selly, I am not even ruling him out of a podium at this stage. In 6th, has got the job done on Alp, and that was absolutely crucial. In the end, pulled off to perfection. He had to wait, but in the end, patience is a virtue, and he's through and he's into 6th. Nathan into the pit lane as well. Medium compound size will go on. This could be quite close actually between himself and Selly coming out the pit lane. It's a very short pit stop around here. It's one of the shortest pit lanes, of course, on the F1 calendar. It's somewhere around 19-20 seconds a pit stop around here. And Selly, miles ahead of Nathan coming out the pit lane. This is talking 3 or 4 seconds coming out the pit lane. And Selly is side by side with Alp. Sorry, Nathan is side by side with Alp, I should say. Alp has got the run up the hill, but Nathan is ahead. Nathan is ahead, and Alp with that right side end plate damage. Does he sit and suffer any longer? Or does he come in the pit lane? It doesn't look like it's actually affected him that much, but when you go through the corners and when that time gets added up, there in 7th, he has got a huge mountain to climb. And Selly now 2 positions ahead of him. 2 championship points ahead as well, or 4 championship points I think ahead at this stage as well. Cucumber though, leading the way. A man that we haven't been bored with in this race so far. He leads the way by 15 seconds over Campbell. And in the end, whatever Cucumber is running, I'm sure he'd be kind enough and give it to some of the Division 4 guys a little bit later on. Because honestly, this has looked absolutely sublime from his perspective. Jeroen, by the way, is into the pit lane, so he's going to react to Nathan coming in the pits. He might in turn be side by side with Alp coming out the pit lane, even behind Alp potentially coming out the pits. They're coming through on that part of the track. This could be quite close here for Jeroen. Set of mediums go on. Grab back, by the way, on the set of softs. They're not going to get to the end of the race, I don't think, under their own version. But there is Jeroen. Nathan out of the pit lane. There he is. Left hand side already gone through. Jeroen out of the pit lane, well ahead of Alp. Perfect stuff for Jeroen. And now Nathan and Jeroen could perhaps battle as well for that 5th and 6th position. Oh, so I really do need a drink. After the 27 out of 39 laps that we had so far in this race, Cucumber leads the way. He's coming up to a real pack full of cars. That includes Alp, Jeroen, Nathan and Selly. So to battle that potentially up to 4th position. Montana is in the comment section, which makes you think it's definitely not him that's driving. The Canadian is doing such a phenomenal job. This is, again, F1 esports sort of standard driving we are seeing from Cucumber here tonight. I said that about Selly round 1, and then look what happened. His form has dropped off a little bit since. Cucumber, this is esports level performance right here. This is perfect so far from Cucumber. Leads the way, still to come in the pit lane. Gary's came in the pits. He's going to be miles ahead of Selly, and he is already out of the pit lane. So Gary's going to be about 10 seconds, I think, ahead of Selly coming out of the pit lane. In fact, it's a little bit less than that. But Cucumber coming through. Into the pit lane he comes. So into the pit lane he comes. Campbell might be forced to stay out here. If I was in Campbell's shoes, I'd certainly think about staying out at this point. Whether or not he can remains to be seen. The Cucumber out of the pit box, and that set of mediums. Is he going to be ahead of Campbell? Yes, because Campbell's ahead into the pit lane. Campbell into the pits. Cucumber miles ahead, coming out the pits. In clear air. Not in doubt now this race, unless he crashes. This race is never in doubt for Cucumber. After getting that phenomenal start on that one, in the end didn't look back. It was Campbell was still, to be fair, a second off him at the end of 3 laps, and then Cucumber's just pulled away. Once Campbell got out of that DRS range, that is an AI car. Is that Rocco by any chance? It is Rocco behind him, which could be quite interesting. But Campbell there in second, 18.4 seconds. He's even lost time in the pit lane. That is how bad it has gone for Campbell in this race so far. Gary there in third has gained a bit of time, but it's not going to be quite close enough. And anyways, everyone in the end is going to be in a bit of a battle. As now Gladbach looks the inside on actually on Izzat coming through the tunnel. Izzat has got visible damage, I think, on the right side end plate. And Gladbach tries to get the run on the exit. Gladbach gets the exit. Gladbach has got no front... sorry, Izzat has got no front wing. Gladbach makes it look easy. He's through. And he's into 11th. And Izzat, by the way, is still continuing on that sort of whole competitive with no front wing. He may as well. Nearly not for long, though. Nearly hit the wall there, but doing a good job. Yeah, Clean Vigor Racing is what QVR stands for, by the way, in the chat. I think that's already been mentioned by Montana. Yeah, QVR does stand for Clean Vigor Racing. Not... I don't know, what could I come up with? Quinoa, vegetables, and rice? Is that what it means, potentially? Is that, by the way, still continuing on that? With that no front wing, and he's nearly in the wall coming out of Macedonia. He's doing a good job, though. Nothing really happening out on track, so I'm just going to ride him. But I could end off the stream here and just say Cucumber's going to win the race by 20 seconds. And look at the gap. It's 20 seconds. Campbell, famously, because Montana picked up a bit of damage a couple of seasons ago around here, and I'm sure I don't want to help him remind that, but Campbell did win this race by 20 seconds back in the day. I think it was on F1 2020? Was it Season 5? Season 6, I think it was? And Campbell took the win by 20 seconds. And in the end, Cucumber, with no damage to Campbell and Gary, this is purely on pace alone, Cucumber leading the way. Montana was an absolute roadblock, by the way, in that race around here in Monaco, back in the good old days of LOE. And even that just rubs salt in the wounds. Just rub salt in the wounds. It's a 110.8. I could give up my day job. I could give this commentary up for the rest of the race and say that Cucumber's going to win, Campbell's going to be in second, and Gary's going to be in third. But I have got a duty to you guys in terms of this race. But Cucumber has looked absolutely extraordinary so far in this race. He has just looked incredible. He's gaining half a second every single lap on Campbell. And this is just absolutely phenomenal. Montana is saying, is Cucumber full-time or is he reserve? I believe the last time I looked at the standings, he was a reserve. And I'll confirm that, hang on. Where is he? He's not even on the standings, that's how good he is. He's not even on the standings on the website that I'm following off. But yeah. He is a reserve, I believe, at this stage in the season. I don't think there's any full-time spaces came up. That's for sure. Your own, by the way, is top reserve, if you're wondering, on 18 points in the title. In fact, actually, he's the only reserve that has picked up points this season. Cucumber, by the way, just absolutely guzzles past. I think, is that Gary he's just overtaken? No, it's Killer. He's just overtaken Killer. I got excited for a second there. I thought he's going to lap Campbell in a second, but no, he's not. Cucumber leads the way. Campbell in second, Gary there in third. Doing a good job. Yulpin was saying Cucumber is good in F1, but he's bad in Rocket League. Okay. Might have to commentate on a Rocket League match then, potentially, and see how good he actually is. But yeah, you never know. You're good at one thing, and then you're good, and then you're bad at like 99 different things. There's Rocco, by the way, is on the back of Izzat in a battle, and Izzat is. Rocco's through. Rocco's through, he's at the top, and Izzat, I think, was using the wall just to try and keep on going there. Oh, and he's nearly in the wall, actually. He is in the wall, I think. Big snap there, coming through. And look at him. He's using up the walls. This is surely not allowed. Stewards, if you're looking in the chat, please, please, please give him a penalty, because this is not on. I know he's got front wing damage, and I know he wants to try and stay out there. To be fair, I think he was trying to stay out there for the final point scoring position. But now, in the end, he's down in 13th. He can't even... He's picked up a 3-second penalty coming through the Novella chicane. This is unbelievable. He's riding every single wall out on track. He's been sussed, by the way, by me in the chat, as I think that's Gary now passing him, potentially. And Gary is just trying to sneak his way through there in the Red Bull. But yeah, Izzat finally sussed into the pit lane. He got away with that for I don't know how many laps. The lap that I rode on board with, though, certainly a little bit of a miscreant coming through the Macedonia, and now he's in the pit lane. He's lost that position for the final point scoring, and in the end is that defining what can only be said as new track limits. Your own however, Nathan, is that battle we were going to ride on board with, and now it is that battle for 5th and 6th. Selly, by the way, Look at how far he's off Gary. 4.6 seconds off the back of Gary. On a set of hards, which are going to get to the end of the race. What was mine saying? What, halfway through the race? Sally could be on for P3? I think he might be. Potentially. Of course, he's got that 3-second penalty overhanging him, and I'll have a look at the penalties as it stands. Sally on 3, Jeroen on 3, Killer on 3, Verstappen on 3, Izzard on 12. Probably going to get disqualified for the race for wall riding, which I've never seen done before, really, in a league race around here in Monaco. But then again, it's Codemasters, you learn something new every day. I'm not even going to repeat that comment from Montana. You can have a look at that for yourselves in the chat. You absolute... I don't even know what to say. Cucumber leading the way, Campbell in second, Gary in third, Jeroen on the back of Nathan with that 3-second penalty. But the FER man is on the back of the QVR man, and he's going to try and look for the move, maybe in towards Massenet, but he has been behind him throughout this race. But yeah, Jeroen in sixth, doing a good job. Nathan there in fifth. And Jav also saying, says the one who was the Monaco wall riding, hitting walls. Okay, Montana has been sussed as well. Interesting. Interesting. Are we about to see a cheater in helmets, I wonder? But being serious, Cucumber leads the way, Campbell in second, Gary there in third, Sally there in fourth, Jeroen there on the back of Nathan, fifth and sixth position. He's doing a fantastic job, Jeroen and Nathan, at this stage. And of course, Cucumber, I can definitely tell you, is not cheating in this race. He's just been absolutely sublime in terms of his setup. He's so far ahead, he could go round and round again. He could do a full 78 laps and lap the whole field. That is honestly the level of performance that he has put in this tonight here in Monaco, because it's been wonderful to see, wonderful to watch, even though I haven't rode on board with him every lap. It's been wonderful to see. And Campbell and Gary are no mugs whatsoever. They are no mugs whatsoever, and in the end they've been tamed. Tamed by a cucumber. And I never thought I'd say that in commentary in my lifetime, but there we are. As Glad backing up, a side by side, down in toward the Nivelle chicane. Alps just got round the outside of Flatback coming through the Nivelle chicane. Nice move, didn't catch the camera angles for that, but he's through his 10-10 on that fresh set of mediums, and now sets about chasing after Verstappen and Rick and Killer, perhaps for a P7 finish. At this stage though, regardless of where he finishes, he is going to be down in 10th position at this stage, and Sally will remain in 4th. Still gaining on Gary as well. The gap is coming down by relatively good amount, as Gladback I think had front wing damage, so that's why he's in there in the wall, and that's why he's back into quick to Sally. Literally said 3-second penalty. He's now got 6. He's picked up another 3-second penalty. So Mercedes now there in 4th. If you're wondering, by the way, what's going on in Division 3, I haven't rode on board with Division 3 throughout tonight. If you are wondering what is going on in Division 3 right now, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Sagat leads the way, D. Morton second, Chillen third. I'm glad Division 3 have got the same worries as us. And the same roles. As the yellow flag, is that Verstappen? No. Who was that had spun? Oh, it is that! Is that out the race? Is it out the race? Took me long enough to see who it was. Is that though out the race? That means everyone, still continuing now, is going to get points. Which is phenomenal. Cucumber leads the way. 25 seconds nearly now the gap from the Canadian. And in the end, he has just looked absolutely unbelievable. As I say, he could go around again and again, every single lap, and still win this race. He could win it in his sleep. And I'm not even being joking with that. It has looked so good. And are we seeing a potential new star? Now, of course, he's got to back this up week on week. But, of course, next week, when I get up the calendar, we do, in fact, go to Austin. So Austin, compared to Monaco, is a totally different track. This is where we get to witness the men from the boys. This is where we get to pit. Is Cucumber the next up-and-coming star on the PS platform? Or is Sally? Or is neither? Is somebody else going to win in Austin next week? And that is the fact now. That is what Cucumber has got to bring to the table. He's got to do this week upon week, lap upon lap, race upon race. And if he does do that, there is no shadow of my question, we are seeing the birth, potentially, of an absolute superstar here to start in LOE Division 1. LOE has been the breeding ground of some very good drivers in the past. Of course, Montana has competed in the past around here. Jensen has done the same. He's won, of course, not won a championship. Alpha Trix, of course. Shazoo, Louis Welsh, of course, won a title around here as well, as Yerona's very sideways coming out of Portier. Looked a bit slippery himself, maybe taking the nick out of Cucumbers, but they're in sick. Doing a good job. Gary, by the way, just to put it into perspective, is 50 seconds behind Cucumber. Gary is coming through. I'm just trying to see where Cucumber is. Gary's through Raskas. And Cucumber is actually at the Novell chicane. I thought it was the other AlphaTauri. Gary's only coming across the line now. This is remarkable. This is absolutely phenomenal. But as I say, he's got to do this race upon race, lap upon lap. And Montana said he's a bit like Alp, he's a bit inconsistent! Oh my goodness me, and he's now just showing off! Coming through the Novell, coming through Raskas into Anthony Noah's showboating to the crowd, coming through that part. Your own Noah Nathan, serious battle going on down towards Mirabeau. This is for 5th and 6th. This is a battle now that is going to rage on to the end of the race. And Yerona's got to find a way through at this point. But Cucumber leads the way. He's still pulling out gaps, by the way. 25.5 seconds. And he's still pulling out, even though he's showboating as Yerone hits the wall on the inside of Portier. That is it. Surely, from Yerone, there is no coming back around here. Alp, trying to go to the inside of Massenet as we round on board with him. Gets the job done. Doing his into 9. There's one ticked off his list. He's got penalty-ridden drivers ahead. Killer and Rick are ahead of him. They've got penalties. Alp hasn't. Alp's getting back into this race, but it's far, far too late. Cucumber leads the way though. Out on track. 25.7 seconds. Bit sideways, as I say, coming out of Raskas and through Anthony Noj. But now for the penultimate time. Is he going to showboat again in towards this part of the track? No. That was literally a legitimate mistake last time out. But Cucumber, now on for his lap of glory. Leads onto the final lap of the race. Yerone, again on the back of Nathan, looks to the inside line of Massenet's going to try and force his way through. And he does force his way through. The Alfa Romeo, out of absolutely nothing, gets the job done. Yerone is doing his into 5th, but to what consequence? Because Nathan there, no penalty on the car, is now under pressure. I wonder if he's got a little bit of damage potentially, Nathan, but Yerone is now ahead. Yerone finally makes the move done. Sometimes you're just going to get your elbows out. Yerone has certainly got big enough elbows to fit his gap. And look at that, he's now pulling away. Yerone now escaping up the road. I thought that was it, that mistake. In the end, though, he's in 5th. Nathan there in 6th. They're going to battle on to the final lap of the race. They're getting caught very quickly by a slippery Cucumber out on track. But in the end, Cucumber, the Canadian, has just looked absolutely phenomenal in this race. If this is the sign of things to come, welcome to LOE, my friend, because this has looked absolutely extraordinary from the Canadian. As long as he stays within the white lines, as long as he gets the final 2 corners correct, he is going to win the Monaco Grand Prix in an absolute street. Cucumber through the final corner. One way to make your debut. This is impressive. This is even better than Montana's debut. Cucumber to the line, wins in Monaco by an absolute street. Campbell now just coming through to back. That is how far clear he is, because Campbell is through the final sector split now. A full sector ahead. You've got to be special to do that. Oh, and there's a collision coming through right in front of Campbell, and that's Yerone. No, it's not. It's Alp and Rick. It's Alp and Rick. Alp in the end is lapped anyway, so he's going to be coming across the line soon. Campbell there in 2nd. Gary in 3rd. He's only into the Novell chicane. And look at Selly. Selly's all over the back of him. Where's he came from? The Austrian on the back of the Irishman. I don't think the Irishman. I don't think Selly's going to get this P3. But if he is, he's going to give it a damn good attempt. In towards Raskas for the final time. He has to try and look for something, as Gary very, very wide coming through Raskas. Now through Anthony Noj. Gary's going to hang on to 3rd. Sally's going to finish in 4th in the end. He had a really good drive to recover from that terrible qualifying session. Gary there in 3rd, Sally there in 4th. Sally's certainly going to be part of the drive of the day. I'm absolutely certain of that. Yerone managed to get the move done on the final lap. I think he's going to form my part of the drive of the day as well. To finish in 5th, and in the end, what turned out to be a war of attrition in Monaco turned out to be an absolute domination for one driver. Slippery Cucumber takes the win out on track. Sally gets drive of the day, awarded by the in-game fans. He might get awarded drive of the day as well in the vote. He's certainly going to be one of the three, alongside Cucumber and probably your own, if I'm not mistaken, for that vote. But my oh my, we now get to the top three. And it comes up, there he is. Cucumber now walking nonchalantly to the top step of the podium. And as I say, if this is a sign of things to come, he is going to be one very happy chappy moving forward in LOE Division 1. One way to make a statement is setting a qualifying lap that is 4/10 through the rest of the field. Another statement, though, is winning the Monaco Grand Prix by near enough 26 seconds. Absolutely phenomenal drive from Cucumber. Takes the race win. Might take Drive of the Day awarded by the in-game fans as well. Absolutely phenomenal. And that's just the start, I am sure. If he can back it up next week in Austin, that is going to be the sign of things to come for absolute sure. But it's Cucumber who takes the win. 27.4, but 27.5 seconds ahead of Campbell in second. Gary there in third. Sadie there in fourth, with Nathan there in fifth. Great drive from Sadie, by the way, from 17th on the grid to get fourth. Nathan there in fifth, Yaron there in sixth, Killer in seventh. Out, by the way, still fastest lap by just 300th of a second off Cucumber, so he takes that fastest lap point as well. Rick there in ninth. Look at how many finished a lap down. Verstappen in 10th, now back in 11th, Rocco in 12th. Is that in the end of the race later on, along with Darry, Wouter, Yilbreen, Pease and Jensen. Jensen had too much traction coming out the corners. Unfortunately for him, out of the race and down there in 18th position. And maybe we'll see Jensen back to his best next week as well in Austin. But I'm going to go blue screen for a second, as my controller is on a 1 bar, so hopefully everything is going to be okay, as we are going to interview the top 3, and I'm just going to try and find them. Hopefully I can actually do this a lot quicker than searching their names, which I can, which is good. So let's get our top 3 in, and that is of course Cucumber, that is of course Gary, and that is of course Campbell. So there we go, that was easy. Oh, and I cannot add to one of the players because of their settings, which is great, and I think it's Slippery Cucumber, so I might have to add him as a friend. And then we can get them in. But we can certainly get Gary and Campbell in for interviews. Just going to send a friend request to Mr. Cucumber. And then get him in for an interview, which hopefully shouldn't be too bad whatsoever. But yeah, there we have it. That is the Monaco Grand Prix over and done with. I hope my PS4 is not going to freeze now, please. There we are. It was just Gary joining the party that caused my PS4 to freeze. Goodness me, I thought we were absolutely in dire straits there for a second. But there we are. We are now getting into, well, back into the lobby. And that means, of course, we will be joined by Campbell and Gary in due course. I'm just going to send Mr. Cucumber an invite as well into the party. And then we'll be good to go for the interviews for tonight. Gary is the only one that has joined at this moment in time. But we will get, I'm sure, Campbell in very soon, along with the Canadian who absolutely dominated that race in the end. A different level in Monaco. And now we can speak to that man who, of course, finished in P1. It is Slippery Cucumber. And Cucumber, there's racers that, on debut, I would say are very impressive. And then there's just you, who was different class tonight. Talk us through that, because that was just domination.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I was talking to Alp on Discord like yesterday, and I told him, I mean, I was saying like, you know, it's all gonna come down to qualifying and just keeping it clean. So, I mean, the most important thing was getting pole position, which I managed, and then I knew if I could just keep it into turn 1, it was just about getting in a rhythm, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it was a bit of a boring race, but I don't mind those kind of races, you know, when you're just leading and doing your own pace and it's smooth sailing, you know. No one diving up your inside or anything. So yeah, I was quite happy. I don't mind Monaco. I didn't think I would win by this much, but I mean, Monaco's a bit of a bogey track for many, so I'm sure it will tighten up next week.
Yeah, definitely so. But in the end, you just had raw pace, I think, out on track. You were gaining, I certainly made it about 5-6 of a second every single lap on Campbell behind. And you must have been looking behind and thinking, where's my opposition? Is this really what Division 1 has to offer?
No, I know. I've been watching LOE when Montana would post it on his YouTube or even stream it or whatnot, and I know like this field is super quick. But yeah, Monaco's all about abusing the curve. If you don't abuse the curves, you're gonna lose so much time. So I don't know if some drivers weren't using as much curves, but it's all about just maximizing everything on this track. If you don't, it's gonna cost you big.
Yeah, definitely so. Jav as well saying New Star Cucumber was elite back in the day. This is my first experience of commentating with you, certainly in a lobby. So that's where I think I'm coming from in terms of that. So apologies, Jav. But yeah, if you were elite back in the day, then you are just showing why you have always been elite and why you should be a championship contender, I think, moving forward.
Thank you, thank you.
You are very welcome. And, of course, final question that I normally ask as well. We've got Austin next week. If you're going to be racing, how do you think you're going to get on? Because I don't think it's going to be as easy as 28 seconds around Monaco.
No, definitely not. I like Austin a lot, but I definitely know all these guys are going to be super quick. I will be free, so if anyone can't make it, I will be there. But yeah, I like Austin. It's a good track, super flowing, a lot of overtakes. And like I said, definitely going to be a bit of a DRS train, most likely.
Yeah, definitely so. I hope it's going to be a lot closer because I want to see what your racecraft is like. And if your racecraft is anything to go by, you might just be the next up-and-coming star on the PS platform, my friend. And I really do mean that. And I've been around the business 10 years on league racing, and I've seen it all. But honestly, we could have just seen potentially a new superstar in LOE Division 1 this season. Cucumber, wherever you may be in the world, go and enjoy, I think, your afternoon.
Thank you, thank you.
You are very welcome indeed, and we can now speak to the man who must be thinking, why on earth am I P2? Campbell in P2. In the end, you just... I can't describe what I think we saw there. Talk us through from your perspective, because that must have been one lonely, lonely race.
Yeah, lonely is one word. To be honest, I didn't need to try, to be brutally honest. Like, yes, I could have pushed and probably kept the gap a bit more honest and respectful, but I don't want to risk damage. I'm happy to coast around on some laps half a second slower because, well, I'm going to get to the end, I'm going to finish second, I'm taking 18 points home regardless, because let's say I pushed and made up however many seconds the gap was. I'm not overtaking, it's too difficult, so I'll see it out in a slow and steady pace and take home my deserved points. So yeah, lonely, but I guess a smart race, if you can call it that.
Yeah, really smart race indeed. And obviously, you finished second. Sally, of course, finishing fourth. Alp finishing down, I think, in 7th or 8th position in the end. Means that you do gain in terms of the championship as well. So, obviously, with that going forward, and with the rest of the season to look forward to as well, and obviously, hopefully, much closer racing next week, where are your thoughts going in from 5 races in? Where are your thoughts going for the next 5 races? What is that ultimate goal? Is the ultimate goal to take the championship lead?
I'm not talking about the championship until it's finished, I'll say that. First 5 could have gone a lot better. I think the drive-through in China was a huge mistake that I'll probably look back on regardless of how the season ends. And then Abu Dhabi got unlucky with the final lap incidents and stuff with the cows not ghosting that were right in my face. So hopefully just try to cut out any sort of mistakes over the next 5. But if I can keep up how I've been going in the first 5, I'd be happy. Obviously there's room for improvement, it always is, but I'll try and keep going and progress forward.
Yeah, one thing you've certainly got on your side as well is consistency, and obviously taking Abu Dhabi in the final lap and Rocco just causing an absolute carnage coming through turn 15. Taking that aside, you've actually been really consistent this season. A 2nd place finish obviously in Britain. China of course didn't go to plan, and then you had that 3rd in Japan, so the form is there.
Yeah, I think it's just ultimate pace, isn't it? Like, I'm always missing that last little bit to take the win, so maybe to rely on something like today where it was a silly crash in qualifying. I'll picked up the grid penalties to help you get the gain on them, especially in Monaco. No one's overtaking, so I don't know how Selly ended up where he was, but yeah, it's going to take thanks to Formula Way if I'm going to outscore these guys regularly, because I just don't think I've got that outright pace on them. Yeah,
which is a shame, but obviously consistency is absolutely key. I mean, we saw Volakongan and PSGLF2 take the championship with 1 race win. Anything is possible on this game. And obviously with that moving forward, I believe you're now 2nd in the championship as well going into Austin. So next week in Austin, is that pace going to be there? Are you going to be fighting towards the top end of the field?
I'd hope to. I've not raced Kota in a while, so I need to see how I am, but I hope so. I'll give you a positive answer and say I hope I can be there next weekend rather than something negative and down and say I'll be lounging at the bottom end of the top 10. So yeah, let's try to do something next week.
Yeah, Alp, by the way, finished 8th positions. That's why I'm saying you're net P2 in the championship. And I think you're only, 3 points behind Selly, I think, as well, off my math. So I could be wrong with that, but in the end, phenomenal job. 2nd position in the end. Certainly not the result I'm sure you were hoping for, but 2nd position around Monaco, I would take it any stretch of the imagination. Go and enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
You are very welcome indeed. And the man who has finished P3... Mr. QBR Gary, is this a once-off occurrence that we are interviewing you for a podium? But no, seriously though, P3 I think was a phenomenal job from your perspective. Talk us through it. It certainly looked like that from that perspective. By the way, you can't be heard on the stream, Jav's just said. That might be party settings, I think. It's fine. It's fine. I'm normally PS5 have these issues,
Yeah.
so it's okay.
It should be good now.
Should be good now. Well, I will repeat my first question just so for the benefit of Jav and everyone still watching. Gary, P3, you said it was a lonely race. Talk us through it.
Easy.
Easy race, sorry.
Easy race. Like, it was just, like I said, it was one lap one, so getting ahead of the likes of Nathan and Julian was the crucial thing, and then having a big gap behind and having a big gap in front just made it quite easy to maintain. And then Selly caught up at the end, but he had a lot of pen, so I was never really stressed about him at all. So yeah, pretty easy podium in D1 as they go.
Yeah, pretty easy in P3. Now, I'm going to come on to say, if buts and maybes, but if Yildirim and Nathan, I think it was Yildirim and Nathan, didn't make those mistakes in front of you, where do you think they would have actually featured in the race? Because in the end, Nathan was battling with Yaron further down the field.
Well, I think Nathan would have been... I think we all would have been stuck behind Nathan's train, which would have ended up being P3 for majority of that race. So it would have came down to pit stops and undercuts, overcuts, whatnot. So, yeah, it would have been interesting to see if Nathan had got ahead of both of them and both me and Joe Bremen held up that train for however long he did. So, thankfully we didn't have to worry about that. And yeah, probably would have been near, I would say, just in the train with Nathan. That's probably where it'd be, 5th or 6th probably.
Yeah, 5th or 6th potentially, but in the end it's a P3, so congratulations obviously on that podium. It might be once in a lifetime in Season 9, that's for sure. But
I've had other ones, James, it's okay. I've had other podiums.
But of course we have got another race coming up next week. Of course it's Austin, Texas, Circuit of the Americas. How do you think you're going to get on around there?
Yeah, not a bad track, I like it, so hopefully I'd say have a result like this, probably just back to reality, just picking up some solid points, so yeah. Hopefully goes as well as it did this week.
Yeah, hopefully it does go as well as it did this week. Of course, you haven't got Montana to rely on as being you're now first man potentially in Red Bull, or second man, first man. I don't care. Might be even Stevens, but anyways, congratulations.
First driver, James. I'm first driver. Don't worry.
First driver. He's paid enough. He's paid enough cookies, I think, to try and get that first driver role certainly in F1. But yeah, go and enjoy your evening, Gary.
Thank you.
You're very welcome indeed, and that rounds us off very neatly indeed for the interviews for tonight in, I was going to say TML F1, in LOE Division 1. Goodness me, it's been a long week. Big thank you though to everyone for joining in the interviews, to Cucumber, to Campbell and to Gary, much appreciated of course as always, and to of course Old School for filling in Division 3. I think Swip was joining them as well for Division 3, so hopefully Division 3 went well. I know they were strung out like a washing line as well, which is Monaco at the end of the day. But of course next week we do go to the fantastic track of the Circuit of the Americas. It is going to be one of those tracks where it's going to catch quite a few people out, but hopefully it's going to provide some really good action as well, and we will really hope that the action comes back and hopefully Cucumber can prove once and for all my theory that he might just be the next superstar, potentially on the PS platform after that race. But in the end, fantastic racing, even though it was a bit boring for some. In the end, further down the field, Jeroen and Nathan, that battle, and that's why Jeroen got the 3rd position in terms of the Driver of the Day vote, which Gary is definitely not very happy about. I'm absolutely given that for certain. But there we are. We are done for tonight, and yeah, fantastic stuff. We are going to be back, of course, next week for round number 6 of the championship in Austin, Texas. So until then, I've been James Head. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time. Oh yeah, Division 2 and Division 4, by the way, 10 minutes time if you do want to catch that. Totally forgot to mention it, but Division 2 and Division 4 are going to be live in 10 minutes time, so you can tune in for that if you do want to. If you want more Monaco action, who doesn't want more of Monaco action? And hopefully there's some good overtaking there as well. But a big thank you to everyone for joining. I'm going to end it off here. Like, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell. I will see you, of course, next week alongside Mark. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, goodbye.